12 session, and I would bucket that into two major topic, because initially we started with some metadata, like we started introducing what is Vedanta, what is the relevance of Vedanta, why should I study Vedanta, etc., and how should I study Vedanta. These were some of the topics we introduced. We introduced initially the literal definitions of Vedanta. I'm just doing a 5 to 10 minute recap because it's some time. So it is better to see where exactly we are. So we saw the definition of Vedanta, and we saw what is the relevance of this Vedanta in 21st century, because we understood what is the key problem, key fundamental human problem. So we saw that what are the goals pursued by every human being, and how Vedanta is going to help you to get that freedom from suffering. And we understood the two-step process, like initially you need to get that adhikaratvam, or the eligibility to study Vedanta. For that, we prescribed two practices. One is karma yoga, other one is upasana yoga. Karma yoga means it is for cleaning the mind, and upasana yoga is for controlling the mind. When that mind is pure and clean and controlled, what happens? This knowledge can be assimilated. Otherwise, even though the knowledge is given, it will not be experiential knowledge. So, having said that, we went to the second topic, which is an inquiry into yourself. So, we spent almost 6 lessons trying to understand who am I. If you remember, we used a couple of teaching methodology. One of the key methodology we used was Drik Drishya Viveka, the difference between observer and observed. And we tried to see what exactly will come under the bucket of observed and who is the observer. In that process, we used a couple of other prakriyas or teaching methodologies. One was Shariratraya, means we understood the three different bodies. And for what? We understood that none of them are you. So we identified the problem, key problem, as identification and attachment. Wrong identification with the gadgets. The body is a gadget given to me. So when I identify with that gadget, that's a problem. So for that analysis, we took 3 teaching methodologies. One was Panchakosha, other one was Drig, means the Shariratraya, and then we also learned what is Avastatraya, what exactly is the different state of my experience. Just to prove that when that different state of experience happens, my experience will change. So I am different from that experience. That's what we were trying to prove. And then we spent one class, which is the previous class, in identifying, means in locating the problem. We boiled that down to 2 major issues. One is called identification, and the other one is attachment. So these were the basic 12 lessons we covered so far. Any questions, anybody? That sequencing is, you're with me, right? So with that.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So now, since we did a lot of analysis on the topic, who am I? We identified I'm not the body, I'm not the functions of the body, I'm not even the subtle body, I'm not even the causal body, and I'm different from all the different types of experience. Now we are going to change our direction. So having explored who am I, the second major topic or the method of inquiry in Vedanta is we identified who am I, right? So when you look outside, what you're seeing is a world around you. You want to understand what exactly is the truth behind that world. So for our inquiry was inward. And now the second portion of the Vedanta, we are taking an external inquiry. We are looking outside and trying to make some sense out of it. If you remember in the very first class, I told in Vedanta, there are 3 aspects, 3 major entities we are going to discuss. First one is, of course, who I am. The second one is what is the world around me. And the third one is the governing principle of me and the world, Ishvara. And then we wanted to understand the relationship within these three. The entire Vedantic literature is going to cover these three topics. So having covered that first portion, which is the nature of I, we are going to shift to the second topic, which is what exactly is this world? What is the truth behind this world? And interestingly, this is the means of inquiry of the science also, because the science always look outside. Vedanta, the typical inquiry is inward. But in Vedanta also, there is an externally facing inquiry, and there is a powerful teaching methodology. Multiple teaching methodologies are there. And the first teaching methodology, we called Prakriya. I always explain, right, the difference between Vedanta and the other philosophies or the other schools is every school, means whether you take every religion, they talk about the truth, because if the truth is only one, everybody is going to explore that same truth. What makes Vedanta special is the teaching methodology. It is the powerful teaching methodology available in Vedanta. So we are going to use a very powerful teaching methodology to understand the truth in front of the world in front of me. And one of such powerful teaching methodology is known as three orders of reality. Satyam. What exactly is the Satyam? We wanted to inquire. So this is a very popular and powerful teaching methodology. So any teaching methodology, which is a tool, we first need to understand what exactly is that methodology. You might be remembering the way we discussed Drig Drishya Viveka. We tried to explore what exactly is the teaching methodology first. If you understand, the key concept there was observer is different from the observed. That was the key concept. And we built the whole idea on top of that. So like that, we need to understand what exactly is the fundamental behind these three orders of reality and how we can apply this tool to understand or test every object in front of me and try to see what exactly is the order of reality it belongs to. This is going to help me to understand the truth behind the universe. So that is the purpose. Any questions? So these are the topics we covered so far. And today we are going to cover the three orders of reality. It is one of the most powerful teaching methodology used for understanding the reality of an object or even the universe. So now let's go one by one. There are three orders of reality. The first order of reality is known as absolute reality. In Sanskrit, we call it as Paramarthika Satyam. Paramarthika means truth, absolute reality. In other words, it is also called as Satyam. The second order of reality is called relative reality. Sometimes we call it as empirical reality. And some commentators call it as transactional reality. In Sanskrit, we call it as Vyavaharika Satyam. Vyavaharika Satyam. That is what is transactional reality. And also we call it as Mithya. That is another technical term used in Sanskrit literature. And the third order of reality is known as illusionary reality. Pradibhasika Satyam. Or in other words, we call it as Tucham also. So please keep these words in mind. One is absolute reality, relative reality, illusionary reality. Or Pradibhasika Satyam, Vyavaharika Satyam, and Pradibhasika Satyam. These are the three orders of reality. So let's try to see one by one. And probably we should start with what is known to us. So when I open my eyes and look in front of me, what exactly I'm seeing? I see a computer, I see books, I see a table, I see a chair, I see a camera, I see a remote, I see a chair. So many things are there. In other words, I see a world in front of me. The world in front of me is a manifestation, means you can see multiple things there. Infinite number of objects. You can see that. So we should start our inquiry from there. We should start our inquiry from what is exposed to us and go back. So let's try to understand the relative reality, which is going to capture the world in front of me. So we'll start with first point is the truth or reality has multiple dimensions. A very simple example is going to explain this point. In our day-to-day life, in our transactional experience, in our empirical experience, when you look outside, the world or the earth appears to be flat. But a deeper understanding or a vision from a higher plane, right? It clearly shows that the earth is not flat. It is a sphere. So the point here is, right? For you to do the day-to-day transaction, do you need to know that the earth is round? Absolutely not. That is not what my experience is. And that is not how I transact with the world. But the truth is that it is a sphere. So the same, whatever you experience may not be 100% complete. I'm not saying that it is correct. It might be true from that place, from that time. But if you really go higher, you may get a different experience. I just cited this example just to show that the experience you may have may give you one order of reality, but there could be some other order of reality. Hundreds of examples can be given, right? So this is one example. At least here, the world is flat and that enjoys certain external reality. Sometimes what happened? This mirage you see, right? It appears that there is some water. When you go there, there is absolutely no water. So where exactly that water was there? The water was never existing, but it was a creation of my mind. So these are the three different order of reality. One is what is experiential to me, that is experiential to other people, but that may not be the correct view. For example, the earth is flat. It is my vision, it is your vision, and it is everybody's vision, whoever is in this time and space. But on a higher plane, it said it's not correct. So that is one order of reality. The second order of reality, when I see a snake in a rope, you might be seeing it as a rope, but my experience is a snake. So that experience is created in my mind. So there are certain orders of reality which I just make up in my mind. There are certain orders of reality which is available to everybody's experience. And there are some orders of reality which is the absolute, that cannot be changed. These are the three orders of reality. Does it make sense?
So what is the second reality? The first one, the snake and rope, is.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. I'm going to bucket that into each of these groups. For the time being, just understand there are multiple orders of reality.
Okay.
So let's go to the first order of reality. Let's talk about the relative reality. Why did I start the relative reality? Because that is what my day-to-day experience. Relative reality is the manifestation of truth in our day-to-day life. So the earth, how it manifests, the world, how it manifests. I can see hundreds of objects around me, right? So certain things, I am a human being. I see myself as Rajesh. I see yourself as Ratnagar. I see Rajesh ji, Bhuvana ji, Karthik, Rohit ji. All those people are separate. So I am a human being living in a vast and complex universe. That is my experience. I'm conscious of myself and the world around me. That is also a truth. This universe has millions of objects and millions of living beings, and they operate in a framework according to the laws of the nature, because there is a laws of the nature is also there. If I drop an object, it will fall 9.8 meters per second. It falls down, and you can see there is a universal law everywhere, right? The planet moves according to a particular laws of motion. Every world, whether it is in the micro world or macro world, there is a loss. So all that is truth. That is what I'm experiencing. All the objects in this universe are conditioned by time and space, and they are subjected to change, right? Most of these means all of these objects are born at a certain time. operates for a while, and finally perishes. And as an individual, I'm conditioned by time and space and the universe around me. This is my experience. Anybody has any doubt on this? Suppose somebody comes and tell all these are illusion, that is not correct. So there is a reality, there is a universe, there is objects, there is problems, there is constraints, there is laws of nature. I am conscious of myself and I'm conscious of other people, and you guys, each one of you are conscious of yourself, and we both interact in a common language. All that is happening. This is how the vyavaharika, the transaction, continues in the world. And there is a reality. And this reality that is experienced by me on a day-to-day life is called relative reality or vyavaharika satyam. Vyavahara means the transactions, the day-to-day transaction. Please understand this correctly, because a lot of people after studying Vedanta tell that this world is illusory, leave it. That's not what the Vedanta is telling. Vedanta tells it's a relative reality. It is called mithya. Unfortunately, in some of the Indian languages, the word mithya is considered as illusion. But in Vedanta, the word mithya is not condition, means called as illusion. Mithya means that that object is dependent upon some other object for its existence. The stock example here is the pot and the clay. Pot exists, right? I use this pot to take water and drink. The pot I can see. I know that this pot was born at certain point of time. And I know that sometimes this pot is going to break. So if somebody say that this pot is illusion, the person who tells that is living in an illusory world. That's it. So the pot enjoys a reality. But when we say mithya, that means it is dependent upon another object for its existence. What exactly is that object the pot is dependent on for its existence? Anybody?
Clay.
Clay, right? So the clay is what gives the existence to the pot. So like that, that is the simple definition between satyam and mithya. Mithya means it enjoys an existence, but that existence is dependent upon something else. In other words, the relative reality is a reality, but it do not have any independent existence. The relative reality always dependent upon something else for its existence. So apply this truth. Let's go to one more slide, right? So relative reality is the world available to us for our daily living. So in this order of reality, means as I said, like there are billions of objects separate from each other, and all these objects are conditioned by time. And as I said, like we cannot ignore of reality, because we have to fulfill our duties, we need to pay our mortgages, we need to obey the laws, and we need to make sure that the laws of nature, we are constrained, understand that the laws of nature, we are constrained. That even now, right, you know that all of us are stuck in a room because of the nature. And above all, we need to understand that every object in the world is subjected to birth and death in this order of reality. So with this definition, right, take any object in this universe. Can you tell me one object in this universe which has an independent existence, which doesn't belong to this category? If I take my phone, what is going to happen? What exactly is the object by which this phone is made up of?
Metal and plastic and stuff like that.
Correct. That means, so I can say that, let's say that A, B, C for simplicity, right?
Sure.
So what exactly, if I go to A, let's say that A is plastic. Is the plastic has an independent existence? That's the question.
Yeah, everything is dependent on something.
Correct. That is exactly what the inquiry is going to. This is the teaching methodology. So when I go to plastic, let me take a simple example. I'm going to take my shirt, the shirt I'm wearing. So is this fit into the definition of relative reality? Absolutely yes, because this existence of this shirt depends upon the fabric or the cotton, I would say, right? If it is a cotton shirt.
Right.
So every example has its own limitation. Don't tell me that this is not a cotton shirt. So let's assume that this is a cotton shirt, and that cotton shirt depends upon cotton for its existence. Okay, now let's conclude. If we are concluding that is the cotton is the absolute reality. No, because the cotton comes from something else. What is that? What do you call, means you have to go to the 9th grade biology. What is that from which this cotton comes from? It is cellulose, right?
Cotton's from the cotton tree, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Cotton.
let's say that cotton is from the cotton tree, right? That
Right.
means from where that comes from. If you go down, like what exactly constitutes that cotton tree? Cells.
Right. Yes.
And what exactly is that cell? It is the cellulose fiber cellulose or something like that, whatever, I forgot.
Sure.
Is that the absolute reality? No. You can say that there are molecules.
Right.
Is the molecule is the absolute reality? Is the molecule depends upon something?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the molecule depends upon atoms.
Right.
Because the molecule depend upon electron, proton, and neutron. And the different combination of this forms a particular molecule.
Right.
Different combinations of that molecule forms what? A particular item. Then the combination of multiple items forms an object. That is how it comes in.
Right.
And this is exactly the inquiry that is happening with this prakriya. So this molecule means atoms. If you take the atoms, the atom has an independent existence. Once upon a time, they thought that atom is the most independent particle in the universe. And what happened? That's how the name atom came from. The word atom in Greek means that which cannot be divisible. That is what it is. But later point of time, we found that, yeah, it came from, means the subatomic particles are there, quarks. So what exactly? So now if you go and ask, is the quarks is the fundamental particle? We don't know. Scientists after 100 years, they will come back and say that, okay, this constitute another one. And then they will say that another one. So the entire physics in the modern world going after that one particle, which constitutes the basic building block of the universe. What I was trying to say in this whole inquiry is that you clearly understand that anything you see, touch, smell, or taste belonging to this relative reality category. Anybody has any difference? Correct?
Yes, everything falls under.
Everything falls under the relative reality. This is exactly what the relative reality is. So now let's go and try to understand the other orders of reality. So today our goal is to understand this tool, right? And then we are going to apply this tool to different things. I already started applying the relative reality to everything in front of us. Now, illusionary reality means it is our perception. In Sanskrit, it is known as pradipasika satyam, or it is also being referred as something called tucham. Tucham means that doesn't exist at all. So in this particular example, means you see a snake here. Is there a snake? Absolutely. The cat sees a lion here. And in this place, I see a water. Is there any existence in the for the water outside? Absolutely not. The snake doesn't exist. I'm seeing a snake on top of a snake rope. The cat is seeing a lion in the mirror, but there is no lion at all. So this illusionary reality means it happens only in my head. There is no existence at all. This is what typically people call as mithya, but this is not mithya. This is tucham. There is absolutely no existence for this relative reality. So here, if you really look at that stock example, like when you look at a rope, the relative reality is the rope. If I see the relative reality, if my perception is correct, I will see the rope as rope. That means I'm experiencing the relative reality. But if I see a snake, on the rope, what happens? I'm seeing an illusionary reality. And that illusionary reality is created by my brain. It doesn't have any external existence at all. That's what this illusionary reality is. So, in other words, the relative reality has an existence. It is experienced by me and it is experienced by other people. But the illusionary reality is a creation of my mind. But for me, I feel that it is real and I react to the illusionary reality as if it is real. And 80% of the human problem is what? This illusionary reality. So in Sanskrit, they call Srishti eva drishti. Drishti eva srishti. So if the drishti, eye falls on the object, what happens? It is correct perception. Then what happens? If I translate that into English, it means it exists, therefore I see it. What is the second category? I see it, therefore it exists for me. Isn't it? So
that is for illusionary reality.
Illusionary reality, right? So let's take this example, rope and snake.
So Rajesh, I had a question.
Yeah.
So is the difference between relative reality and illusory reality this, that in case of illusion, only I see it, others will not see it?
Exactly. Others means other people also has the same illusion may see it, but
yes, but generally they are not expected.
Yeah. It is completely subjective. Exactly. That is the difference. So remember when we talked about the physical body and subtle body also, I explained very similar and using similar example, right? So if it is physical body, I see it and others can also see it. But the subtle body, I experience it, but other people cannot experience it. The relative reality is experienced by everybody in that time and space, whereas the illusionary reality is completely my creation. So when I see the rope as rope, it is a correct perception, and what I'm experiencing is a relative reality, meaning the rope exists, therefore I see it. Clear? The rope exists, therefore I see it. Now, coming back to the second scenario, I see a rope. I'm looking at a rope, but I see a snake. So that means it's an incorrect perception, and that incorrect perception created what? An illusionary reality. So for me, what would be the fact? I see a snake. Therefore, that snake exists for me. I may have the same reaction, right? Whether it is a real snake or an illusionary snake, my reaction could be the same. But these two are two orders of reality. This is very important because these orders of reality are very important. Let's take another example for illusionary reality. When you dream, imagine that you got a promotion. You're going to the sweet shop, buying all the laddus, so you're so happy. But the next split second, what is going to happen? When you wake up, that's gone. So what happens is, what I wanted to communicate is, the transaction you're doing in one order of reality, it may not be applicable to the other orders of reality. This is very important. And 80% of the human problem are based on this illusionary reality. And means we will talk a little bit the effect of this illusionary reality later in the Bhagavad Gita class. This is the biggest problem. So I was reading a very scientific article, very interesting article, because nowadays you can see a lot of emotional distress for a lot of people. So let's say that 20% of the people lost their job. It is very much understandable the way they react to that and the way they have stress, etc. And a study came out yesterday or today that tells very clearly that almost 80%, 50% of the people goes through the same distress. 20% of the people because they lost the job. But a lot of people, they're anxious. They think that the job is lost. So what happens? The body is going to react as if the job is lost. It's a big issue. I'll post a few scientific studies in this WhatsApp group just to show the power of this illusionary reality. It can impact you very badly. So catching up, illusionary reality. There is no real existence for the illusionary reality. Correct? It's a projection of our mind. It's an error in perception, maybe due to the wrong wiring of my brain or lack of correct perception. But what is going to happen? I feel that my experience is correct without thinking that it is illusions. So when I feel stressed, I will react as if the world comes to an end. I don't even spend a single moment to validate whether that trigger was genuine or false alarm. And my response would be as if the perception is correct. So this is the problem of the illusionary reality. So if I ask you to summarize and compare these two orders of reality, can you do an attempt? Can anybody? Arnabji or Ratnagarji or anybody? Ajesh or anybody?
Sure, Rajaji. I had a question. The first bullet point, there is no real existence for the illusionary reality. Could it have been that there is no real or relative existence for illusionary reality?
That is true. That is true. It should be like that. Relative existence means there is no external existence. That means,
Right.
in other words, you have to say, because any language you put has constraint. So just understand that there is no external existence. That is a good point. Second point is the illusionary reality I experience. It is only for me. So you and I might be sitting here. Both of us would be looking outside, and I see a snake, and you might be wondering, where is that snake?
Yeah.
That is the second thing. And most of the time, a lot of people, when they react very badly, when they go through a higher pressure, they don't understand that half of the problem is created in their brain. The whole field of psychotherapy, the way these therapists survive, is because of this illusionary reality. What exactly is the job of a psychiatrist?
To change your
remove illusion.
perspective.
To see, no, not to change your perspective, to help him to see things properly.
Yeah. See
To
things as they
bring
are.
him back, right? To bring him back from that illusionary reality closer to relative reality. That is the job of a counselor.
So all the perspectives are also, they come under illusionary reality.
Yeah, it's means anything you are creating in your brain which does not exist. That is the definition.
No, but Rajaji, if my perception is also the average perception, then it may not be illusionary. It may be relative.
But if you're, it means there could be a community perception issue.
But then who would decide?
See, the definition is very simple, right? If you are imagining something that doesn't exist outside, that is illusionary. That's it. So it is not anybody's fault. The very fact that all the human being has an illusionary reality, meaning the false reality, because Vedanta tells that you all think that your body is yourself. That is a problem. So we are not going there. We are not going into a philosophical discussion.
Yeah.
But at least from a practical perspective, you know that these two orders of reality exist, and I am pretty much capable of creating lot of illusionary reality. And now, what exactly determines this illusion, the creation of this illusionary reality? That's a good question, right? I always come with a baggage called my karma. That is one thing. Second thing is what? My upbringing. Have you seen movies? Malayalam, it is Manichitrathal. Tamil, it is Chandramukhi. And Hindi, I don't know. I forgot that movie. The multiple personality and everything in that one girl. She was told about all these bhutas and pretas and pishaches, all these ghost and ghost stories.
Bhool Bhulaiya.
Yeah. So what happens is her mind has a tendency of what? Identifying this ghost.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. That is what is that? It is
That
an
is illusion.
it is an illusion. So the thing is, what I was saying is that there are so many factors that contributes for the creation of what exactly is the illusionary reality I make. Right? So there is a generalization trap. If you fall in that trap, you say that, okay, you had an experience with a very bad friend. So some people, what they do, they conclude that everybody in the universe is bad. Have you seen that type of trap?
Yes.
You also make, right? Your means your relationship. Means if you imagine that one of your means really close relationship, some girl cheated you, or some boy cheated you. What would be, some people have a perception that the entire
All the men are bad. Yeah.
all the men are bad.
True. Yeah.
So that is again an illusion. So what I'm saying is that what exactly the illusion you are creating, it is based upon your upbringing, it is based upon the situation you have gone through, it is based upon the values you have adopted, all these things. Once upon a time, if you go cross the ocean, some people thought that as a sin. All these values and norms and structures, all these things will help to create illusionary reality in me. So the first goal of Vedanta or yoga, means yoga plays a big role here, is what? Shift me from this illusionary reality, or minimize the impact of illusionary reality on me. Because sometimes what is happening in the relative world, you may not have much control. Right now, coronavirus, you don't have much control. You may do all the precaution, but when you go to Costco for buying one stuff, if another person happened to be there, we have no control. Whereas the illusionary reality, I have complete control. I have complete control in means what is happening. So it is relatively easy to solve the problems which are illusionary. That is why the psychiatrist can solve a lot of problems easily. And I always feel that almost everybody needs some kind of counseling, because a lot of unmanaged emotions are there for everybody.
Sure.
But these are all illusionary reality, and I see something in me, and and it is nobody's fault. When somebody cries, understand, have an empathy to him, because he's seeing something worth of crying. That's why he's crying. So this is what is illusionary reality. So you may say that, what is there to cry? No, you are not seeing what he is seeing. In Gita, in later one of the verse, Krishna tells you have to be in his shoe to see what he is seeing. Don't criticize him.
Absolutely.
That's very important. So when the child is just removed from a chat group, or when somebody unfriend her or him from Instagram, they make a big issue. For them, that's a big issue. That's what they're seeing. Whether it is relative or illusion doesn't matter. So the illusionary reality plays a big role in our life. So let me sit and recap. Whatever you are seeing externally, whatever that has existing externally is relative reality. Whereas what I'm making in my mind, which do not have any external existence, is illusionary reality. So anything you look outside, whether it is a sun or the moon or the star, whether it is the plant, animal, or human, everything falls under this relative reality category. Whereas what is illusionary category? Your dream, what you see which doesn't exist, the snake you see on the rope, the mirage you see, all these things are illusionary reality. This is what the illusionary reality is. Some more examples, some more analysis. The illusionary reality.
Sorry, a quick question.
Sure.
would it also be proper to call illusionary reality as subjective reality and relative reality as objective reality?
Right. That is good. That's a very good means. I see some people even using that terminologies. But only difference is the objective reality also could be subjective reality. You can see a snake as a snake. That means the subjective reality and objective reality manifest. So when there is a difference between objective reality and subjective reality, that is what is illusional reality.
Yes. I mean, sometimes subjective may be objective also.
Yeah, at that time means the relative means there is no illusionary reality.
Yeah, it's
The illusion exists when there is a difference. I
Yes.
can define it like this: the delta between the subjective and objective. Correct?
Correct. I mean, subjective is assumed to be different from objective.
Correct.
If it is the same, then it is objective only.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So that's why one of the key skill they say in Vedanta is develop the power of objectivity.
Yes.
Very, very, very important topic in Vedanta.
Very, very.
I'm glad that, yeah, I'm really glad to see these type of questions and this type of analysis. This is great. This is exactly what we wanted to communicate. But mind you, this is 5,000-year-old analysis on the human being. And I feel yesterday also I was telling when I was talking to somebody, I take strong objection when somebody call Sigmund Freud or somebody as the father of psychology. If this is not psychology, what else is psychology? The study of the mind.
Yeah.
This is pure psychology.
Right? Exactly. Only thing is that it is in Sanskrit and it is ancient. It cannot be like ignored. So
So what is reality to one person is it's illusion to another person. That's the reason why there is a friction between the people. So many people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that is again illusionary reality. If
Correct.
it is reality to everybody, then it becomes objective.
Yeah, it is relative reality. Yeah. So look at this definition. Relative reality means what exists. Illusionary reality means what I experience beyond what I exist. Right? So the relative reality is the world around us. Illusionary reality is the world created by our mind. Relative reality exists for our perception and therefore we see it. Illusionary reality, we see the illusionary reality. Therefore it exists for us.
Rajesh, there is a very nice debate between David Baum and J.D. Krishnamurti on this topic. It's very nice, actually. Yeah, if somebody is interested, without talking anything Vedanta, just a pure analysis, like a J.D. Krishnamurti style.
Yeah, please share some of the insights. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have the link, please share it here, Vijay.
Sure. Yeah.
And this is such an important topic. I think this prakriya or this tool is one of the absolute must-have for studying Vedanta. Without this tool, you cannot study Vedanta. That I can tell you that the methodologies we have came across so far, right? We already talked about Drigdrishya Viveka, and now we are talking about this orders of reality. And this is an absolute must-have prakriya. I think Vijay, you were also talking a lot about this to Swamiji also, right? This is one of the important teaching methodology.
Yes, I'm sorry, I was muted again, so just to make sure. Yeah, that's true. Actually, we had a heated discussion with Swami Tadatmananda. Yes, yes,
yeah. By the way, since Vijay mentioned Swami Tadatmananda, he gave a brilliant message yesterday.
I saw that. Yeah,
I'll put that in the group.
Yeah,
really, really good.
On what, Rajesh? I missed it. What was it on?
On Corona
situation.
Oh, can you share it? Can we share it in the group?
Yeah,
Rajesh ji did already.
I did that in the Gita group.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I thought there was another one. Okay.
No. Today I will share another one, like uh, the singer Kavalam Srikumar. He chanted one Shanti verse from Yajurveda. Means it's so good. Just listen to these things, because these are the things we need to make use at this point of time.
Yeah. I think he sang a song about the coronavirus also recently.
Yeah, no, I think this one is a Vedic hymn
Sure, sure. Okay.
for the Shanti. Okay, so now the question is, so now think about the path, right? The path is very important. How did we started our inquiry? Drigdrisha Viveka, we had a path, right? We initially started, we are seeing a flower, and we did the analysis. Who is the seer, and who is the seer, and what is the seer? And then we just came back and tried to do other analysis. So that's what we did. So here also the analysis started, right, by opening up our eyes. When we opened up our eyes and looked around, the world we see, we try to analyze, right? We wanted to put everything we know into one, what exactly is the order of reality it belongs to. So we have analyzed a lot. We analyzed the snake. We had, when I saw a rope, we saw that it is illusionary reality. We saw the dream we experienced as illusionary reality. We saw every other objects we see as relative reality. And this relative reality can be experienced through our sense organs, right? Or this means the sense organs are known as karana in Sanskrit. Or this sense organs power can be enhanced using the equipments which are known as upakarana. Upakarana means that which enhances the karana is known as upakarana. So I can use a telescope and watch a star. That also belongs to the relative reality. Now the question is the relative reality the ultimate truth? We already started that analysis when we started the relative reality. When we defined the relative reality, the definition was, what was the definition? If the existence of that object is independent, then it is not relative reality. If that object depends upon another object for its existence, that is relative reality. So anything we discussed so far, is that the ultimate truth or absolute reality? Right? The world we live, every object, everything we can experience. So we did a lot of analysis already. Even if you take sun, the sun had a beginning. And if you really look at the matter, I don't know, means helium atom or hydrogen atom, what exactly is the existence? Every object you take in the world, you can see that that object depends upon another thing for its existence. So the ananya, it always dependent upon another object for its existence. So that is what the characteristics of the relative reality. So now the question is, what exactly is that object which is not dependent upon any other object? Is there anything like that? So Vedanta clearly tells that, yes, the world in front of us is relative. There is a higher order of truth that behind this changing world. And we call that as absolute reality. Absolute reality, the definition is the changeless substratum behind all the changes. So in the example we have seen earlier, right? We talked about cotton. The cotton is dependent upon the fiber. The fiber comes from cellulose. The cellulose has cells. The cells has molecules. The molecule has atom. The atom has subatomic particle. And it goes on and on and on and on. And where exactly is the end? The end of that inquiry, the end of that cycle is not, it's not a cycle. It is the end of that inquiry. What is left, which cannot be divisible further, which exactly is the building block of the universe. And that is what is known as absolute reality, Satyam or Sat. This is what the definition of absolute. And Vedanta tells that that absolute, the Chandogya Upanishad, is the 6th chapter of the Chandogya Upanishad. In the upcoming sessions, I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. The Chandogya Upanishad tells, know this as the Sat, the real existence of the universe. And it is defined as Abadidam Satyam, Trikala Abadidam Satyam. One is, it is not dependent upon anything else for its existence, and every other object in the universe is dependent upon this absolute for its existence. That is number one. Number two means this absolute that does not have any change with respect to time and space, because it is Trikala Abadidam, that which is not subjected to change in the 3 periods of time, that which is not subjected to change by anything. And the third thing is, it is Satyam, and it is Jnanam, and it is Anantam, infinite, because every object in the world is nothing but that. So that is what is known as absolute reality. And when you talk Anandam, it is not like contour defining the infinite in math. Like if you take math, you have multiple infinities. But in Vedanta, it is crystal clear. They talk about what? The definition of infinity is, they say, Desha Parichinnaha, Kala Parichinnaha, and Vastu Parichinnaha. It is that which is not conditioned by space, that which is not conditioned by time, and that is that which is not conditioned by objectivity. This is called the infinite. So this is the absolute reality, which exists all period of time. Even time and space exist in him. I cannot call it as him, but I have to use some pronoun. That is why I said. So this is called Sat, and this is absolute reality. And it cannot be differentiated. Absolutely. There is no factor by which it can be differentiated. Differential with respect to time is 0. Differential with respect to space is 0. Differential with respect to any attribute is 0. There is absolutely no change. And that alone is truth. So we have to go a little bit more further and do this inquiry. And finally, we have to say that the Atma, we inquired through the other means of inquiry. It is the same absolute reality. So this is the absolute reality. So let's go a little bit more. Absolute reality, to understand the absolute reality, some of the Upanishads gives these laws of causation. They say that every effect has a cause. So every pot has a cause called clay. Then the second definition is what? Effects, everything relate. So the relative reality has an ultimate cause. Swami Chinmayananda call it as uncaused cause. The words are inadequate. The words are inadequate to describe that absolute. Imagine you are sitting, I'm sitting conditioned by time and space. I'm sitting in relative reality, and I'm talking about something in a different order of reality. There is always limitations. So every effect, every items in the relative reality has a cause, and that is the absolute reality. And second law is what? The effects, plural. All the items in the relative reality, billions of objects, are nothing but the absolute reality in a different form. All the golden ornaments are nothing but the gold in a different form. That's it. And the third one is, if the absolute is removed from the relative, nothing exists. Just like if you remove the pot, the clay from pot, nothing exists. So this is the absolute reality. So some example, right? The cause, the clay, the effects are mud pots. So every pot, every clay pot has a cause, clay. And the pots are nothing but the clay itself in a different form. If you remove the clay from the pot, nothing exists. Similar example, every wave, ripple, and everything is nothing but the water in a different form. Like that, this absolute exists in every relative reality. In fact, the real existence of the relative is because of the absolute. So let's pause here and summarize. So we wanted to identify, because so far our inquiry was internal, and now we are taking a different inquiry, external inquiry. We wanted to understand the truth behind the world and the objects around us, right? So for that, we use a powerful teaching methodology or prakriya called the 3 orders of reality. And we saw there are 3 orders of reality. One is called relative reality. The second one is illusionary reality. And the third one is absolute reality. And the only thing that really exists is the absolute. Relative has only a temporary existence. Temporary existence means millions of years, but still it is temporary. And the third one is illusionary reality that does not have any existence at all. So this is the summary of this particular topic. This is such an important topic. And interestingly, when we studied the Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter, right, I was telling, very coincidentally, we are in the Vedanta, we are getting into the same topic.
Yeah.
So Rajeshji, how can the human mind even comprehend or access the absolute reality?
It is impossible. So that's why the Sahasranama and all, it is giving a pointer. So it's difficult to understand completely. That is why they say, right, to define God is to defile God. But at least you can get connected to that. Means that is the whole Vedantic inquiry. It is, you cannot understand this through any normal means of perception. That is why it is difficult to understand. But can that be understood? Yes, there is a means of knowledge, and that means of knowledge is Vedanta. And Vedanta is a pramana. Remember, we had a one whole couple of weeks we had that discussion.
Yeah.
So Rajeshji, that knowledge,
Yeah.
you know, it's intellectual. How can we make it experiential?
Yeah, that is means I think you missed that portions, Arnabji. I would strongly suggest to you, I'll send you a couple of links. We spent a couple of hours on this topic.
Okay.
So watch the video called means the topic called Vedanta as a pramana, and I'll talk to you also offline. So this is how we started. What means, again, how you can experience that? This is only a theoretical explanation we can say, but you have to put effort and you have to come to know that by yourself. Nobody can teach you that. Everybody can show you some path. What we are giving right now is a roadmap, and with that roadmap, everyone has to take his own journey. So then only you can experience. But theoretically, how it is defined, that is definitely explained by the textbooks. But isn't it fascinating and amazing, right? How scientific, how logical it is, the framework. That's what amazes me.
Yeah, a lot of clarity here.
Yeah. So every Upanishad you study, it's an elaboration of this topic. But without this basic understanding, if you study the Upanishad, you have to understand what exactly is a prakriya or the teaching methodology and how it is being applied. Otherwise, if you go to the Upanishad, it will be completely go out of our hands. Okay, so 9 o'clock. So we can pause it next Thursday. So we are going to talk about creation, the so-called creation next week. How the world got manifested. Creation is wrong word in Vedanta. So we talk about, we call it as Srishti. So what exactly is Srishti is the topic we are going to discuss. And then we are going to discuss the topic Ishvara. All these are interesting topics, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I will see you all on Sunday online. So stay safe and pray for the community. Hopefully this issue will be resolved quickly. So